You don't need another strategy. Here's what you actually need to figure out why you can't implement the things that you already know. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storme, former psychologist, now business coach, and I help women just like us to build profitable private practices, usually in under 12 months. Being neurodivergent means I see the patterns that other coaches miss, but it also means I'm a truth teller, so I'm not interested in giving you any business advice that sounds good or might be trending, but doesn't actually work for us. Welcome to the Practice Momentum podcast, where we're going to get your private practice sorted out. Thanks so much for being here, and let's get on with the next episode. And welcome back to the podcast. So pleased you're here. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. And to new listeners, welcome. Today we're going to talk about business coaching and what to look for in a business coach. And this has come about because I've done a bunch of inquiry calls over the last couple of weeks, as you know, and there are some definite patterns emerging. And I just thought this might be a really super helpful way to help you understand, what's important to you, what to focus on and what to not focus on, so that you can really find your best match in a coach for your private practice. So one of the things that some people feel might be really, really important in, finding their next coach is a results guarantee. Okay. So this came up, people were saying to me, "Oh, do you guarantee my results?" And I was saying, no. And then they were like kind of thrown by that. And they're like, "Well, other business coaches do." And I said, "Okay." I said, "But I don't." And there's a very good reason for that. I don't think any good business coach would ever guarantee a result because they're not responsible. It's kind of like when we are working with a client, as practitioners, we can't guarantee them a result because we've both got roles, right? You've got your role as a practitioner. They've got their role as a client. Your role is to provide them with all the things that they need to get the outcome that they want, but their role is to go away and implement those things. Somebody's potential for getting a result with a business coaching is in part, of course, going to be determined, influenced by the experience, the qualifications, the relationship that they have with their business coach, all those kinds of things. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's a 50-50 relationship, right? And it's really down to you as the client to go away and, if that business coach gives you a business plan, to work on the business plan, right? If that coach is saying to you, "Hey, we need to catch up regularly," well, if you don't catch up regularly, that's not going to help you get the result, right? So it's very important that you understand that if somebody, business coach, whoever it is, other practitioner is promising you the world and saying that, they can absolutely guarantee a result, I would see that as a big fat red flag. And that's a little bit of a worry. I think even it doesn't matter which professional body you're with as a practitioner, you just can't even do that. Whether it's APRA don't allow it, APS, AAPI prior to Site Board taking over the Code of Conduct and ethics, but certainly ACA, PACFA, IICT, or all of the places, they would never allow anybody to ever say that. So it's also not okay in business coaching. So big fat red flag, look out for that. But also yourself, don't expect that you're going to get a results guarantee, okay? One of the other things that comes up is cost. And some people think, "Oh my gosh, it's such a cost to go and work with a business coach. That's such a lot of money. It doesn't cost this much to work with me as a practitioner in my therapy. I only charge my clients $120 or I only charge my clients $200 or whatever it is, right?" And so you're perhaps sometimes drawing parallels, but the thing is that they're two completely different fields. Business coaching is not about money going out and you never see that money again and all those kinds of things. Business coaching is about making money, right? You're not in a not for profit. You're not running a charity or anything like that, right? Well, I know some of you have those as well, but I mean, most of you also have a for-profit business. So the whole point of going and getting a business coach usually is, of course, to make money. You want to, some people say, oh, I need more clients. But what's behind needing more clients is being able to pay themselves or pay the rent or, take time off and all those kinds of things. So money is very important. And so one of the main drivers of business coaching is providing a client with the information and the knowledge that they need to be able to make money. Okay. That's very, very, very important to understand. So we want to, when you're getting a business coach, even me with my business coach, like he's mega expensive, but it makes money because you're learning things that you don't know now that call in the money. Okay. So it's not just, the money's disappearing out of the bank account and that's it. If you have a business coach that provides you with resources and tools and templates perhaps or scripts, and maybe they're also doing other extra things for you as well that will really help you level up your knowledge, then of course you're going to be making money. In Practice Momentum, people are just beginning now to finish their 12 months. I may have mentioned, I don't remember or not, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but the average return on investment so far is around 5%. And that means every dollar in, somebody is getting $5 back. So if they paid $10,000, they're getting on average $50,000 back. So that's what you need to get in your mind. So when somebody is saying, oh yes, it's going to be $100,000 to work with me, you want to find out what the average return on investment is. And a good business coach will have their numbers, okay? Me, with the women that I work with in Momentum, I absolutely require they all track their numbers and learn how to track their numbers, because tracking your numbers gives you confidence. It removes emotion from being able to make business decisions. It shows you what's working and what's not, and the numbers will help you make the right decisions for the right actions to take that will close the gap on where you are in your business now to where they need to be. Okay. So if you're, shopping around for a private practice business coach, certainly ask for some evidence around what the return on investment is, because it can act as a way to regulate a nervous system that might be a little bit dysregulated as a result of what I call sticker shock. Especially if you didn't do your homework first, if you just kind of landed in that person's calendar and you've booked yourself a discovery call, but you haven't done your homework, you haven't read their website, you haven't learned about that coach's coaching programs or packages that they may be offering and things like that, and you're coming in blind to that call, and then you figure out, hey, actually I would really like to work with this person, and that business coach then says, sure, well, it's going to be 50 grand, like you're going to have a mild panic attack. So do your research about that person's, like who they are. Go and see the case studies, go and see the social proof, go and see the return on investment. If they don't have that information available, ask them for it before you have the call, so you're not wasting your time if they don't have it, right? Very, very important. So, I think that's helpful to share with you, because I know when I first started coaching, and I did the maths on this, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago now. Just trying to think about the longevity of the podcast. I think we're up to 560 episodes or something. So it must be about 2 or 3 years ago. But I did run the numbers on the amount of money I've spent on my own business coaching. It was well over $100,000. But even with bad business coaching, I still grew. And so did my revenue. So, but again, it's because, you also want to show up in the right way. But anyway, sometimes when I was even recently with this latest coach, I was having a mild panic attack about the investment. And I knew this person. I had been in the world for ages and I knew that they could help me and I knew that I wanted to work with them. I knew it was going to be costly. I knew it was going to feel like a stretch, but I also knew I needed it and I wanted it because I felt like this is not going to sound the way I intend, but I hope that you understand what I mean when I say this. It's like, there's that saying, if you don't want to be the smartest one in the room, it's not that I'm saying I'm the smartest one in the room. I'm just trying to say, like, I don't want to feel like I'm at the top of my game and I'm not sure like what the next stage is or what the next level is. Like, I believe that I want to be not the dumbest one in the room, but I want to be the one in the room that knows the least, because when I put myself in that situation, I learn more, I grow more, I'm absorbing the insight, the wisdom, do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be in that position. So I knew that I needed to do something. But even for me, I had to remind myself of how will I recoup this money, but also reminding myself to remember it's not like doing the grocery shopping and spending $500 at Woolies, right? Or Coles or Aldi or wherever you're going to do your shopping. It's not like that. It's not like money out. With getting support for your business, you want to see that money coming back, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fold. Okay. And it can, and it should. Whether or not it does for you is going to be based on a bunch of things, like the skill and ability of your business coach to give you what you need, yes, but also your willingness to be coachable, to not push back, to do the things, to stay engaged with your coaching, to follow the processes, all those kinds of things. They together combined will absolutely result in you getting maximum return on your investment. And the other thing too is when you finish your coaching program with your business coach, that money, that increase in money that you've had will continue like at that level, because hopefully you've learned what to do to keep it going. Okay. That's, again, it just brings me back to why it's so important that, there's a few things. I always talk about knowing your numbers, because when people finish in momentum and they don't go into Ascend, Ascend is the program for people who are already at a certain stage in their business. If they don't qualify to move into Ascend, or if they don't want to go into Ascend, at least they go away knowing how to make the money and how to keep the money that they're now making going and grow it. They've learnt those skills. Very, very important. So I would say if you're going to see spending money on business coaching as an expense, try and reframe it. Understand how it's, we talk about good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is like if you put the trip to Bali on your credit card. Bad debt. We don't want to do that. Bad debt is something that's not going to bring you back money. Good debt, it's like your education. Most of the time, if you finish a qualification, or if you don't pivot halfway through your degree or something like that, but usually qualifications, education, they're good debt, right? Because they're going to skill you up to then go and work in a profession or a role that you most want to work in and make money, right? You can't go and do that job if you don't have the requisite skills. So that's just one example of good debt, not good debt. Yeah, I would even say like getting the latest Mac, getting the latest iPhone, depending on what you're doing and how you're using them, they can be good debts if they're making you money, right? I would say if somebody was saying to me, well, what about a laptop? Like, I've got this old laptop, it's like 5 years old and it's slowing down and it doesn't want to update anymore, and blah blah blah, things aren't working on it, but I don't want to spend the money. I would rather go on the trip to Bali. I'm going to say, what's more important, like getting this business going and getting it to profit, or taking a break for 2 weeks and swimming in the villa and drinking from a coconut. I know which one sounds nicer. I want to go to Bali as well, but I think a good debt is going to be getting you the tools and equipment that are the best, because they're going to save you time, effort, and energy, and really open up your capacity to make money in the business and to help more clients when you do, right? The more money you make, the more people you can help in more elevated ways than if you're living on a shoestring budget, okay? So yeah, understand the difference between good debt or good costs, good expenses, and, ones that perhaps aren't so good. Simple way, if it's going to make you money, it's good, it's worth it. I mean, if you went to pokies at Crown Casino and they said to you, hey, would you like to come and play this pokey machine? If you put in $10, you're going to get 50 back. What are you going to do? Of course, you're going to go and play the machine, right? Same thing. Okay. Something else that has come up, speed of outcomes. So, people who are just starting their private practices, for example, saying, I want to be fully booked in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, no, not going to happen. I mean, yes, of course, there's always going to be the odd person here or there that makes it happen. Yes. By and large, no. And I would just say it's unlikely that's going to happen, and no, I can't promise you that. And they will say to me, oh, well, so-and-so said that, if I work with her, she'll make sure that I've got. I said, great, go and work with so-and-so then. I can't make that claim. And they're like, why not? And I said, because there's a whole process. I mean, your marketing, for example, takes on average, according to evidence-based research, 90 days. And that's not just from you having a marketing plan. I mean, there's all these things. You've got to have a niche. You've got to have really clear messaging. You've got to anchor that messaging into all of the copy on your website. Now, if you've already got a website that you really love and you think it's a beautiful, beautiful website, and I've seen gorgeous websites, don't get me wrong, but it's so generic, the content. It's talking in the third person. It doesn't mention fees. There's no way to book an appointment. It's not legally compliant in Australia because it doesn't have the things. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to need time to rewrite your copy, figure out your niche, right? Now, some people might do that in an afternoon. Amazing, right? Other people might take a couple of days. Also amazing. Other people might need 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even longer. It depends on how much time you've got, how much motivation you've got, all of this. And there'll be some people that say, well, I don't want to do that. Like, everybody's looked at my website and they all love it. So what else can I do? Like, maybe I'll just run some Google ads. Don't run Google ads, because what's the point? If your website is not great and people aren't booking in, it doesn't make any sense to spend what limited or restricted income you might have throwing traffic over to a website. It's pretty much dead in the water. Doesn't make any sense. Anywho, so that'll take time. And then the website isn't even marketing, right? It's one part, but you need to have a way of making people aware that you've even got one. So then there's all this active marketing that has to go on top of that, right? And then you've got to have things that support clients who might be interested in working with you, but they're not quite there yet. And then you've got to have, it's a whole thing. So on average, it takes 90 days of active marketing. But before that, before you even start active marketing, there are all these things you've got to do first. Now, I have no idea how other private practice coaches are saying to you, yet you can get your diary fully booked in 3 or 4 weeks. I think it's baloney. I don't, no. Red flags city. What type of strategies are they using? And I've heard some of these strategies too, by the way, from people that I've worked with as a business coach, telling me that they were told in the past to like discount their services, offer concessions, do the slide. Why on earth would a business coach tell a woman who's probably already undercharging, i.e. charging less than $160 for a counselling session, maybe she's charging $120 or $130. Why would a business coach tell a woman who's already undercharging, who's already stressed, who's already anxious, who's already got imposter syndrome, oh, just charge less and let's fill your diary. Let's just drop it down to 100 until we get enough people. What? No. And on top of that, like, it doesn't make any sense to be giving away money you don't have. Like, no, it's going to lead to burnout and all kinds of things. I don't roll like that. If that's your thing, go maybe like find somebody else to work with. But okay, so speed of outcomes. Yeah. I think a really good business coach is somebody who's going to be honest with you about the reality of your situation. So yeah, I mean, if you already have a fantastic niche, and by that I mean a niche that's clear, and you've already got fantastic messaging, so we know who to send your way as other practitioners and other business owners. We know who to send your way. If you've already got those things in place and the website's already really good, of course that's going to shorten your time. But you're still going to need to spend time creating a marketing plan and then a marketing strategy to sit under it. And then you're going to be doing active marketing most days. Okay. So yeah, I think a good business coach is going to be honest with you about what you're in for. It's going to take longer in the beginning, like the first quarter of your business. Like if you work with me, for example, the first 90 days of your business are probably where you expend the most energy. The last quarter is where we're just kind of tweaking, refining. But the first 90 days and, can move into the first 6 months even, depending on like what state or condition the business was in when it first came into the program. That's where you're spending a lot of time because you've got to put the systems in place that are going to, make sure that you've got consistency with bookings and consistency with referrals and consistency with inquiries, so that then things are kind of happening on autopilot. And we usually see things happening pretty much on autopilot in that second quarter there. So that's when we've started working with people. We've started to get the flow is happening now for inquiries and bookings and money and everything. And then it's beginning to like find its own rhythm, and you can do active marketing a little bit less. But yeah, again, it's different for everybody. If you're already in private practice and it's not for you about making more money and it's not for you about getting one-to-one clients, maybe you're looking at moving to a one-to-many model. It's going to be similar because now you're introducing a whole new service. This is why it doesn't work when people say, oh yeah, I've written a program and I've put it on my website and I've started telling everybody on social media about it, and I don't have any clients yet and I don't have any bookings and my deadline's coming up and my early bird's going to finish in a day or two, right? If you haven't, like, the steps to take before you move to a one-to-many model, there's a whole process, and that process in itself can take on average 90 days. It's not just a matter of, making a course. You could go and make a course and you can put it on your website, you can market it, and nobody's going to buy it if they don't want it, right? You have to understand how to market a course. It's different to how you market one-to-one sessions. You have to understand how to sell a course or a workshop or whatever it is your one-to-many is. It's different to how you market and promote and sell for a one-to-one session. You have to understand pricing. You have to understand sales pages. You have to understand checkout processes. You have to understand refund policies. You have to understand, different terms and conditions. You have to understand what you're selling and whether it's needed. Like if you put something together and you invest a lot of time creating it and put it out there and people aren't picking up what you're putting down, it's probably because you just missed out on doing a whole lot of steps because you didn't know. But that's why in Practice Momentum, the focus is on, for all new practices, getting the one-to-one clients in first, making sure that we've got that diary where it needs to be in order for you to be paying yourself and paying profit. It needs to be in profit, yes, but also paying yourself and paying your superannuation and all those kinds of things, putting money back into a business bank account so that you can up-level, I don't know, it might be premises, or it might be, a new computer or whatever it is. Maybe you want to go and do some new training, buy the new whisk, buy the new Vineland, like upgrade your Pearsons, like it doesn't matter, the things, right? So it takes time, and it's very important that somebody's clear with you about that. So it's going to take time. I would say if you're just starting your private practice and you're not hitting those milestones, don't even be looking at group things yet. They take a different type of approach to filling than filling a one-to-one diary. And if you're still learning how to fill a one-to-one diary, it's why double your workload by also then trying to learn at the same time how to put a course together and sell it and do all of the things. Like, you'll just exhaust yourself and burn out. So speed of outcomes. If a business coach for private practice is telling you they're going to guarantee that you're going to be fully booked in 2 weeks or something like that, big fat red flag. Okay. Duration. So this is important too. There were some people that were saying to me, I don't want to do 12 months. I just want to do a single session. And I'm like, well, I don't do single sessions. And there's a reason for that. Most of the time when people approach me for business coaching, it's usually because they either need more clients, they need to generate more revenue, or they're experiencing a transition with their business model. That transition with a business model can look like, as we're just talking about, actually, like introducing one-to-many models. They've hit their capacity for one-to-one work, and now they're like, this is tiring, this is exhausting, I've done it for so long, I want my life back. How can I reduce my one-to-ones and introduce one-to-many? So it's for that. Or should I add more income streams to my business? Like passive income is a very popular one. Like, I just want to set this up. Well, do you know what? You can't do that in a single session. A single session would not even be enough time for a good business coach to do a comprehensive business assessment for you. Without a business assessment, that business coach doesn't understand how to help you, right? So even if like you came along for a single session with me and you were saying, oh yeah, I want to add passive income, I need to understand, well, what are the numbers now? Where's she getting her work from now? Where's her energy been at? What's been working in terms of her advertising and, promotion? What's this, what's that? Because as I said a moment ago, like there's different requirements for the different things that you want to introduce to your business. And so how can any business coach help you if they don't understand the current state of the business, right? To understand the current state of the business requires a lot of information. Now, with my clients in Momentum, they probably don't love doing this. I'm sure they don't love doing this because I don't even love doing it myself. But when we first meet, it's an hour or 2 hours, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, that we've got to do this assessment. And then every single quarter, we repeat it. And it's very important because it's having that thorough understanding of leaving no rock unturned, that then we see where the opportunities are and we see where to spend the time, the money, the energy, the focus, all those kinds of things. Now, a single session isn't enough time for a good business coach to do those things. So if she hasn't done those things, how can you trust the advice that she's giving you? Or how can you trust the coaching that you're getting, right? Very important. With business, things work in 90-day cycles. Okay. Even then, it takes a lot longer. I mean, it takes on average 2 to 3 years for a practice to become profitable. Now, if you're coming along and you've just started your private practice and you're like, oh, I want to make, 150K by the end of the year, and it's your first 12 months in business, we need to get real about, is it possible? And it is possible, but we need to be realistic. And if you said, I just want a single session, like, no, not going to happen. Okay. The other thing is, wanting to see proof of outcomes that what you do has worked for other people. So this happens when somebody's booking a discovery call and they're coming in cold. And that's an issue for me. I never want to talk to somebody who's coming in cold. You know, I'm giving up my time here to talk to somebody. And if you've been in my world for a little while, time is my currency. Like, I'm so precious about my time. So if I'm giving you 15 minutes or half an hour of my time, but you haven't taken the time to look at what I offer, look at the website, all of the things, then just don't. Because I think that it's so important that you're only speaking to people that you think can help you and that are going to be able to support you. Now, when it comes to, where's the proof that you've helped other people in my situation? There's something I want to say. I think, yes, you can definitely go and have a look at business coaching testimonials. So business coaches are allowed to have them. So go and have a look at those. Go and have a look at any other social, it's called social proof. Go and have a look at any of that they may have shared on their social media or on their websites or in their marketing materials, whatever. But I wouldn't be putting too much stock in it, because here's why. Your results are your results. Now, I've got plenty of people who just did amazing with me, but as you heard in the last episode, they had certain qualities and certain characteristics. They were highly engaged, they did the work, all of those kinds of things. There are also people who don't get fantastic results with business coaches. And those people might have had different things going on in their lives. They might have been taken out by illness, family circumstances, whatever. They just didn't get around to doing the things that were required in order for them to be able to get the result that they're really wanting. So, it's important to understand that somebody else's results is not going to predict whether you get a result, because you don't know who that person was, how they showed up, how they didn't show up, all those kinds of things. What you do know is your own level of motivation, your own willingness to show up for yourself, your own openness to learning, to being resilient when you go on the hockey stick journey, right? As we all do. It's called a learning curve for a reason, and the curve dips down. It doesn't go up, it dips down. And when it's at the bottom of that dip, that's when people do one or two things. They either quit and they go back to the start and they'll start a whole new project. They've usually got a bunch of incomplete projects going in at the one time because they struggle in that space of, it's feeling hard, I'm feeling overwhelmed. And then the other people are saying, it's hard, I'm feeling overwhelmed, but she's got a tool here, she's got a template here, I know I can speak to her every day, I know I can submit stuff for her to have a look at. Okay, I'm going to knuckle down, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to lean into that support. Those ones come up and up the hockey stick. They build skills, which build competence. That competence builds confidence. They start seeing results. Boom, now they're getting the results and they're like, now what's next? So they finish a thing, start the next one. Not to say they're only ever working on one thing at a time. That's not true either. They might have a couple of things going on, but you see my point. And also, like, do you know anybody in their right mind who's going to put a testimonial or a review or something like that on their website that doesn't show a result? No, because what's the point, right? They're not going to do that. I will gladly talk here about the difference in the metrics for clients I have worked with in and outside of Practice Momentum on their businesses that got really great results, and those ones that struggled to get results. I'll absolutely talk about that. But you can only put so much weight into what somebody's sharing on their marketing, right? And as I said, it's not individual to you. What worked for somebody else may not work for you based on your characteristics, your personality, your qualities, your energy, your time availability, resources you have access to or don't, all those kinds of things. So take them with a grain of salt. What I would say too is really important is, of course, I say it all the time, but qualifications. Like, I think it's very important. It's not required because it's not a protected title, coaching. But I just think if it's important enough to you to invest the money in solving a problem and getting results in your business, whether it's money or clients or impact or visibility or shifting your business model, whatever it is, I think it's always wise to, ask the question, like, where did you do your training? Where did you do your training? Are you qualified? Like, because it's your livelihood, and, most of us are women in this health industry over here. I think it's very important to, I guess, just for your own peace of mind, know that you're with somebody who knows what they're doing. Coaching is different to mentoring and consulting. My approach in Practice Momentum is the women get all three of those things based on what's showing up in the moment. But if you want to know the difference, business coaching, it's where, let's say, for example, somebody's trying a strategy and maybe they've tried a few different strategies to attract clients and none of the strategies are working. But other people are using the same strategies and they are working. So business coaching might be really helpful then to help uncover what might be behind the it's not working. Is it maybe we've got imposter syndrome going on, and so they've got the strategy but they're kind of like hesitating about using it? Is it that they have in their mind that it just feels too easy and therefore maybe it's not going to work? Is it something else, right? So that's what business coaching is really about. It's helping unpack the deeper level stuff. It's really around, I say, identity. I really strongly feel that that's at the base of everything in business for women. If you don't see yourself as being a business owner over here, as well as also holding the identity of a social worker, psychologist, counsellor, psychiatrist, GP, play therapist, physios now that I'm working with. Like, if you don't see yourself as also a business owner, it's just going to be more challenging when it comes to doing some things in the business. So certainly that, and that's where coaching can be incredibly helpful and powerful. Business mentoring is different again. So it's not coaching. Business mentoring is where you're giving advice to somebody based on your experience in that role. So it's where maybe you work with another private practice business mentor. So that person isn't going to coach. They're not going to provide consulting. They're going to be talking with you and saying things to you like, in my experience, this is what worked. In my experience, this didn't, right? This is not what worked. So that's what mentoring is. And then consulting is, I just say, the practical and tactical stuff. The consulting is the strategy, really. The consulting is when a client comes to me and she's like, yep, I just need to know, what do I do next? What's my next step here? That is consulting. We're talking about strategy. She doesn't need coaching around that. She doesn't need to hear about my experience. She's coming and she's saying, what do I do next? Or she's saying, show me how to do this thing, or do you have a way that I can? That's business consulting. So they're the three different approaches that you can think about which one might work for you. As I said, my approach is in practice momentum. They get all three based on what's needed in the moment. Okay. So anyway, I hope that this was helpful. I will put together a checklist that helps you if you're thinking about getting a business coach, a mentor, or a business consultant for your private practice together. And I will add it to the show notes. I will also put it on my website and I will send it out in my email. But if you have any questions about anything that I've shared today, feel free to reach out. Facebook's probably the best place to get me. Usually I don't work on a Friday, and I only check my emails in the morning. All right, my lovelies, have a beautiful, beautiful Friday. I hope that this was super helpful, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorme.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.